your go-to girl for real estate. I'm with.
Darren Lovell with the Lovell team at Cardinal Financial.
We are continuing our series on building wealth through real estate. And today we're going to talk about building wealth by changing your habits.
We are. Yeah. Pam, I mean, there's a lot of things we can talk about, changing habits. Some of them just things that are very obvious, but we probably don't even think about from that perspective. What are some of the things that you've done over your lifetime just to change what you're doing to, whether it's whether it's now or it's been in the past, just to save money. I mean, you think about it, so if I don't save money, I can't build wealth, right? So what are some of the things that you've done?
Well, people don't realize this. When you're younger, you have an opportunity to put money away in your 401k, and people don't realize what that's all about. When you're 25, you're not really thinking about turning 65 and having that money. Making sure that you're educating yourself on the actual benefits that you have through an employer. And like, I'm self-employed, so I don't have that opportunity. So I found out there's a SEP IRA. There's all kinds of other ways that I can use as vehicles to save without paying taxes on it. Now it's deferred, and that's super important because really the time value of money really matters.
Oh, time value of money. Dollar cost averaging.
Mm-hmm.
We could spend a whole segment on that. But I mean, dollar cost, if the earlier you start putting money in, the more impact it has. And we could talk about compound interest and everything that goes with that. But starting early is so critically important because it allows you to average out that cost over 20, 30, 40 years versus if you start putting money into a retirement plan, a SEP, a 401k when you're 55, well, you don't have a long time to save.
And it's really finding someone that does that. Once again, staying in my lane. I've got a great financial planner. We've got lots of good people to recommend to you for that. They understand that. They stay on top of what's going on in the market and what the best vehicle. They look at, they call it a 360. They look at where you've got your money to make sure that based upon your goals and where you want to be when you want to retire. If you want to retire at 50 or if you want to retire at 60, or like me, I'll probably retire at 75. And
you're never retired.
That's true. But the whole idea is they listen to what your goals are and then they back it up through all the different avenues that they can have. So we certainly have people that really do a nice job with financial planning about that kind of stuff. But the most important thing is just taking advantage of what you have available to you to be able to build some of that wealth too.
Absolutely. So we're a little bit biased, right? Where we're talking about like building wealth through a 401k or a SEP, mm-hmm. but building wealth through real estate, right? Mm-hmm. So real estate as compared with the three-legged stool, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, so diversification, all of your eggs in one basket, diversifying that. So, relative to real estate, you want a diverse portfolio. So
yes, you do.
You never want to throw all your money into a retirement plan. You never want to throw all of your money into the bank. So having a portfolio of real estate just helps you be more well-rounded, and it actually reduces the amount of risk that you hold as an investor, as an individual.
Well, you mentioned in one of the other segments that real estate always historically has done very well.
Outperforms the market over time.
Yes. So, and it gives you opportunity for growth in those areas as well as some flexibility. And if you have a child that comes back from college and needs to live in there, there's just lots of other opportunities, including RVBOs. We've talked about that, and Airbnbs and second homes. So there's just lots of other things that we reference in another thing that helps build your wealth.
Well, and wealthy people own real estate.
That's right.
I mean, Jerry Jones.
Oh, yeah, he does own a lot of real estate.
The Perot's. They own land. They own real estate. Mr. Trump owns a lot of real estate. And so wealthy people own real estate. You don't get to be wealthy by just doing one thing.
But you also don't have to be as wealthy as them to be able to buy a rental property.
You don't. Let's just bring it down a little.
Yes,
right?
let's break it down.
But wealth is created in part by owning real estate.
And some of these habits that we're talking about, it can be something as simple as, I've been seeing a commercial for Truebill where you don't realize, because everybody's doing auto pay on everything these days, nobody's writing checks on monthly bills. I'm just using that as an example, but it's an app that you can get. When I went through my credit card statements, we were paying $27.95 a month for some kind of credit monitoring that somehow my husband got roped into it was free for 1 month, and then we paid for almost 3 years. And I was like, what is that?
And you told me about that. And I went out there and I ran that just to identify all the monthly subscriptions that Haiti has. Good heavens.
Yeah. Well, and you just don't realize, there's some opportunities for family accounts like on Spotify, Netflix, some things like that, versus every one of us all having our own accounts.
Right.
There's different ways that things can be done, but really understanding what you're paying for and taking off the things that you really realize you're not using is going to save you several $100s a year almost per item. Really, that makes a big difference. It can go into savings or towards your down payment on a house. Absolutely. Or investment property.
Just buying in bulk. I don't know. We buy when we buy in bulk.
Like Sam's Club,
Costco. And it's really twofold. It's the volume discount you get by buying in bulk, but it's also, especially with $4 a gallon gasoline, making those trips. Those things add up. So if I truly want to be as laser focused as I am, whether it's retirement or it's buying properties or whatever it is, those dollars add up significantly.
Well, and looking into it and finding out what works best for you, I do know lots of people that lease their cars. I actually always like to purchase my cars because after a couple years, I paid the cars off, and then my kids joke that I drive them till the wheels fall off. But that allows me to not pay the $800 a month for my car, that I just pay myself in savings when that payment's over.
Right.
And then, with leases, you're always going to have a payment. And some people do like a new car every year. But as you get older, those kinds of things, $800 a month is quite a bit of money that I could utilize. Plus, I do get to write my interest off and a couple other things on my car when I have a payment that allows me to save money when we purchase our cars directly. What else can we do?
Well, one that comes to mind with me is just having coffee at home versus like a Starbucks. Yeah. I mean, that's like, depending on how many people, that's $10 or $15 a pop, right? So, I mean, you want to save, $10, $15 a week, $60 a month, $725. That's just one thing, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's something that you could do, whether you choose to do it or not. That's just an idea. I mean, eating in versus eating out.
Yes.
That's, when we go out to eat, we spend a lot of money.
Yes.
And eating in, especially with the cost of groceries and everything else right now, that plays into the restaurants and stuff like that. So eating in, you can definitely save money versus eating out. Again, if that money you're going to take is going to go and make you money somewhere else.
Exactly. Put it somewhere that's going to be a vehicle that makes you the money, but also could go, you're paying yourself to your savings account. Right. It's really, you don't realize how fun it is to actually watch that grow by just changing or tweaking a few habits in your life that can really end up adding up.
Well, none of these are dramatic changes, right?
No.
It's just the little things cumulatively building up that you can watch those things grow in whatever you choose to invest in.
Well, I think, too, having people over, you can make a meal for 10 people that's way less than just going out for 3 people or 4 people. And I think your quality of the visits and your relationships and things like that change as you're spending more time together as opposed to being in a loud restaurant or whatever. But just try.
I like leftovers as well. So.
Yes, you probably do. You do look like you. No, I'm just kidding. And then just kind of talking a little bit about life insurance and things. Once again, we can get you with somebody that really handles that stuff. But you can use life insurance policies. There's term and there's whole lives. That for my kids when they were younger, I started one that we paid I think up to $10,000, and when they hit a certain age, and I'm making them actually pay the $250 a year, and it's going to be worth like $30,000 when they hit a certain age, that they could utilize that for down payment on a house or things. There's just all kind of neat things that you can do to try to grow your money and or put it, like you say, to diversify into other things. But we don't know what we don't know until we know. And really getting with someone that, like us, that tends to dabble in all that stuff. We're at that age that we want to do those things, that we can, no question is a dumb question, and we're always happy, and we're going to defer you to somebody that we know is going to do a good job in that area.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I want to build wealth and at the end of the month I don't have any money to build wealth, just making some small changes to get me into a position where I can build wealth, you got to be willing to do that. And like you said, if we're not the person to talk to, we're going to stay in our lane. We have great contacts that we can put you in touch with.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully this has been helpful. Thanks for staying with us on our series on building wealth through real estate, and we look forward to the next one.